Tonight we did it. We finished chapter 40. It's our 7th class, and it was such an amazing ending and so relevant and current. Spirituality, godliness. What's the difference? For the past 3 classes, we have been doing 3 rather long side notes, giving us a more Kabbalistic understanding of the idea of wings and love and fear as wings and the ascension to the spiritual realms and what's really happening, and how our service creates this cosmic change above, not just helping us, but really helping all of the worlds. It's been a very substantial and Kabbalistically oriented past 3 weeks. So now it's far simpler. We are finishing the chapter, and really, in essence, we're done. I mean, we understand this point. We have been developing these concepts in chapter 38, 39. Chapter 40 is one of the longest chapters in Tanya. And we really extensively develop the central theme. Our service of God is beautiful as it is, but when we serve with intention, with love and fear, our service has wings. And the wings, as we said, allow our service, our spiritual service, our Torah, the commandments we do, our mitzvahs, to soar, to fuse with the core godliness of whatever spiritual world relates to that degree of love and fear of God. And why do we care? Because when it soars and fuses with that core godliness of that spiritual dimension, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper in that core to the very energy of God himself, to the infinity of God's light. And at that point, we said there's an absolute fusion, because our commandment is the extension of God's will. So this extension of God's will that ascends elicits the totality of God's will, which causes all of God's dimensions to fuse, to become one, and all of the kindnesses sweeten and negate any other energy, any strength, any negativity, anything that would be going in an opposite direction is all sweetened by its fusion through the revelation of God's will of my act of service, my creating God's will. And why did I need love and fear to do that? Because otherwise what I'm doing is too earthbound. It's too encased in the physicality of this world. So through love and fear, I'm really reflecting why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Anything I'm doing, any service of God, why am I doing this? Because I love you, because I fear you. That's the only reason I'm doing this. I have no other reason to do this. So when I'm loving and fearing, it's pulling out what this service is all about. It's all about God. There's no other reason to be doing what we do all day long, except we love God and we want that relationship and we want to give him and we want to fuse with him. And we fear losing the relationship, and we fear punishment, and we fear negativity. And because of all those loves and all those fears, that's why we're doing this. So it spiritualizes my act to uncover what it's really about. It's really about a relationship with God. And we know it, and we know it very well. And we've tried to apply it. I hope we're still trying to apply it, because every week we talk about loving and fearing God. So hopefully, bit by bit, we're actually trying to remember this and integrate it into everything we do all day long. And remember, this is about God. This is about loving him. This is about fearing him. That's what this is all about. So why are we not done the chapter? Well, we're almost done. We have one question left. We have one little question, and that's what we're going to answer for the rest of the chapter. And it's really a short. And what's my question? My question is, I'm like directing this to the Alter Rebbe, so to speak. My question is, Alter Rebbe, you are saying, your whole premise here is that love and fear are the wings of the bird. The bird is the command. And the commandment soars with love and fear of God. But I don't understand, because really, love and fear are also commandments. Love and fear there's 613 commandments, and loving and fearing God are part of the 613. If loving God is a commandment, and fearing God actually is also a commandment, they're actually very strong commandments. They're part of the 6 eternal commandments that we're supposed to be doing all day long. Why are you calling them wings? They're not wings. They're not. They're commandments themselves. This is the question. And now we'll read it and see also, of course, the answer. Behold. In other words, the Rebbe knows our questions. He's going to go into our answer. We're at the bottom of page 110. We're like 6 lines from the top. 6 lines from the bottom, sorry. Even though love and fear are part of the 613 mitzvahs. Yes, I know. You're not telling me something I don't know, the Alter Rebbe says. I know they're 2 of the 613. Nevertheless, Nikra'in Gadfin we're still calling them wings. In other words, wait a minute. If it's part of the 613, the body of the bird, the wings of the bird, the Alter Rebbe says, I know they're part of the 613, and we're still viewing them as the wings, not the body. Let me tell you why. Because the purpose of loving is serving God because of love. The ahava b'li avoda, is there love without service? Yeah, but that's a very high level love, not what we're really assuming you have. I'll say and then I'll explain this concept. The ahava v'sa'anugim. It's a love of a totally different caliber. A love for the sake of love, a love of delight of God. Let me explain what this is talking about. Loving God is a commandment. Fearing God is a commandment. But the love and fear that we generally do don't exist in a vacuum. Their purpose is to get us to serve, to help us serve, not in and of themselves. It's actually very interesting because throughout Tanya, we always, or I'll say most of the time, compare the love to something very certain specific physical phenomena. Would someone like to share with me from their memory? What do we always compare this love to in Tanya? It's always love that's compared to it's always love that's compared to fire. Ava, Aza, Karishve, Aish, the strong, fiery love of God. We're always talking about the fires of love and this fiery love and this fiery love, and we always talk about it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a secret. That's not such a secret. Real, classical, ultimate love of God is not fire-oriented. It's water. And you would never realize that from Tanya, because we never compare this love to water. We always compare it to fire. But that's not what real love is about. How do I know this? Because if we take all of the emotive traits in God or in ourselves, they all subdivide under chesed, kindness, and gevura, judgment, strength. Love is a manifestation of the kindness, the chesed, and fear, awe, is a manifestation of the strength. Kindness, love, water. Kindness is always, according to Kabbalistic and Hasidic thought, compared to water. Strength, the fears, is always compared to fire. Very simply, water flows down. Water nourishes. Water nurtures. That's kindness. That's giving. That's love. And strength, discrimination, discernment, judgment, that's withholding. That's retreating. That's like the upward movement of fire going away from whatever we're talking about. So in classical Kabbalistic Hasidic lexicon, kindness and love is water, and strength, fear, awe is fire. But throughout time, we always compare love to fire. So what's going on? The reason for that is all these 40-some chapters that we've been learning, we're not generally talking about love in a vacuum. What I mean by love in a vacuum means, I'm going to call it purposeless love. Love for the sake of love. Because to love for the sake of love, you have to be very, very, very high spiritually. Like the tzaddik, like the very, very great godly person whose love is so pure, it's not going anywhere. It just is. It's a state of being. And this is a love that the Rebbe mentioned here. Love that's called ahava b'ta'anugim. Love which is a delight. Love which is just pure pleasure. That's not what we ever talk about in Tanya generally. In Tanya, we talk about fiery love, which is the thirst, which is the longing, which is the desire, which is the want, which is the lack. That's what we talk about in Tanya. Because we're talking about love, which is a tool. Love, which is a tool to get me to serve. Meaning, we have a commandment to love, and we have a commandment to fear. And if we were on a very high spiritual level, we could just be in a state of love and fear. Because we don't need that push to serve, because we're already there, we're already holding there, we're already doing it all. But because we're about 1,000,000 miles lower than that, the whole perspective of Tanya is, if I feel enough fear, if I feel enough love, I want God. I love you, God. I want to give to you. I love you, God. I'm thirsty for you. I'm craving you. I want to be one with you. I fear God. I fear losing my relationship. I fear a lack. I feel a sense of God's presence. I'm embarrassed in front of his presence. I'm embarrassed to do something wrong. I'm embarrassed to take God's energy that God's pouring into me and give it to forces of evil because of my transgressions. So the love and the fear for people like us, 99.999% of all Jews, is a tool. It's to get me to serve. And that's the entire premise of Tanya. If in case you wondered, this is a wonderful class to be at, because I'm just telling you the secret behind all of Tanya. All of Tanya is based on, if you can reach love and fear, you're good to go. You're done. You're perfect. Because you will so much love and so much fear, so much want God, so much not want to disconnect, that you're going to be constantly pushing to have a deeper and a deeper relationship. So the love and fear are tools. Now, some people don't realize this, and they actually majorly mess themselves up, because some people look at love and fear and feel, oh, I'm good. I love God. I fear God. So I'm perfect. I'm good. I'm wonderful. I'm done. I've arrived. But not the love and fear of people like us. We haven't arrived when we have the love and fear. And it's sort of like the difference between being spiritual and being godly. Spirituality and godliness are not synonymous. Those sometimes they might be. And often we might think they are, but they're really not. Because a person could be very spiritual, but not connect to God at all. How do I connect to God? Study his Torah, do his commandments. That's the etymology of the word commandment in Hebrew. It's mitzvah. Mitzvah is safsa. Safsa means a bond. Here we have God, creator, infinite. And here we have me. How in the world is there this link, this connectivity between me, a speck of creation, and God? Because he allows there to be. Because he gave us roads that we can reach him on. And those roads are every single commandment and the study of his Torah, which is also a commandment. And those are the only roads. So if a person is feeling spiritual, very spiritual, but they're not translating that spirituality to do another commandment, connect to God and study his Torah, connect to God and do his commandments, all that spirituality is about themselves. It's got like not much to do with God. So why am I bringing this in? Because that's the point the Rebbe is making here. Yes, love and fear are commandments, but we're not holding on that level of ultimate love and ultimate fear that exists, so to speak, in themselves. Our target love and target fear, halavai, if only we get to those targets of the love and fear we're aiming for, our target love and fear are to get us and motivate us to serve. So if I reach that target of that love or that fear or both, hopefully, but then I don't take it to the next step, I don't serve because of it, I'm just so full of my spirituality and I feel so satisfied because I'm so spiritual. No, you got the wings, but you don't have the bird. When you have the wings, love and fear are components. Ultimately, if you're a tzaddik, if you're on that level, your love and fear is enough in itself. But for the rest of the world, your love and fear are wings. They're not on that high level. Our love is not the love of water. Our love is the love of fire. Our love is a love of thirst, a love of desire, a love of need, a love of want, a love of lack. And all of that is to get me to satisfy my need by serving. But if I'm in the ultimate state of love, which is love like water, I'm quenched. Water, quenched, satisfied, full, content. That's not the love we have. Our love is fire. Our love is lack. And I'm saying it's a very important point to understand. Because otherwise you could get in this trap of spirituality and of feeling very content that you're so spiritual and you have such love and fear of God, and not achieving the goal of that love and fear and not serving. And that's why it's important for us to understand that for us, the love and fear are wings. But we contrast it here with the tzaddik, with the absolute perfect person, who he reaches the real deal love, what we're going to feel by Mashiach. And his love isn't fire. His love is water. His love is quenched. His love is full. What is his love called? It's called Ahava b'ta'anugim. Love, which is a pleasure, which is a delight. What's the delight and pleasure in this love? This love, now again, I said it's full and it's content. This love is actually a gift from God because no human can ever create this love. This love is the love like our souls feel in the afterlife, in Gan Eden and Olam Haba, the world to come meaning the repository of souls after they've completed successfully their journey in this world. That's sort of like what the souls experience, this love of the perfect tzaddik, the ultimate righteous person in this world. And he got as God's gift, as the verse says. Such a gift comes as a present from God. But he had to work really, really, really hard to get that gift. It's sort of like sometimes you get a gift from someone, you do some things to elicit in them the desire to give you a gift. So the tzaddik has done a number of things, which is eliciting from God the desire to give him this gift that no human could create. Is that powerful a love. And it's a love like water. What did the tzaddik do? Well, the main services, there's really many, many, many steps, but just to bring out the main point, the main service is the idea of complete nullification. That's, of course, all of our job. I mean, every one of us, knowing it or not, is working on nullifying ourselves to God. And we're told that even the souls, as we're talking about in the afterlife, up there in Gan Eden, they're all also working on nullification to God on obviously much deeper levels than we are. But we say no souls at rest because every soul is continuing to grow in its relationship to God. What's the growth? The deeper and deeper nullification. So nullification began when we were born and continues for our entire life and beyond. But the tzaddik, this ultimate tzaddik, within tzaddikim, there are levels. He's the ultimate, top of the pyramid. This ultimate tzaddik has worked on himself to have ultimate nullification to God, to be completely nullified out of his existence. It's all God. It's like no sense of self. And then with that absolute nullification, he connects to God in the deepest way possible because he studies his Torah. And there's nothing that creates a deeper bond between us and God than Torah. So with absolute nullification, which is a lot of work, he deeply studies the Torah, reaching even deeper levels of nullification, deeper levels of his own love of God, of his own not wanting anything but God, there being no reality for him but God, and getting deeper and deeper in this until God grants him this love. This love is a gift. This love man cannot create. But the love is called Ahava b'ta'anugim because it's a tainuk. Tainuk means a pleasure. Again, it's water. You're feeling the delight of God, not of ice cream, not of a nice, beautiful walk, of God. And there's no delight that's more deep than that delight of God. Deepest, corest self is that pleasure in God. And when you have that, it's the body of the bird. Yes. It doesn't need to take you anywhere. But of course, he did a lot to get to that point. But for the rest of us, that's not our love. Our love isn't a sense of fullness. Our love is a sense of lack. It's the wings to get our service. Any thoughts on this before I continue reading? Any questions? Any reflections? Okay. So now the Rebbe is going to explain this enormous love of the highest purest, greatest tzaddik. That the tzaddik is feeling such a pleasure and delight. Pleasure is our deepest level. Meaning we might think of ourselves as like, well, the highest thing is our intellect. But actually, Kabbalistically, according to Hasidic thought, deeper than intellect is will, and deeper than will is pleasure. So it's coming from the deepest place, this deep, real core pleasure in God, similar to what the souls experience above in Gan Eden. The Kabbalah's Chag. It's like you're already getting reward, meaning this world, we're workers. This world, the afterlife, the souls above in Gan Eden, Mashiach, that's when we have reward, whatever reward means on a physical or spiritual plane. Well, you could say, what? There's no reward in this world. Oh my gosh, I'm getting really gypped here. Believe it or not, there isn't. We get so much good when we serve. We see it. We do, but that's not what real reward is. Meaning, as we serve, that naturally causes blessings to come down. The more you're in sync, the more you're in alignment with God, the more blessings are naturally flowing. That's not a reward. That's a natural consequence of your actions. And also, the more you serve, the more God has a mandate that, of course, he would like to have, which is to take care of all your needs. It's like you're his worker in an active way. You're actively working for him. Okay, so there's a mandate to take care of your workers. So God is taking care of all of our needs, physically and spiritually, because we're his workers. We're actually his partners. God and the Jewish people are partners. The metaphor given is, it's a little bit of a complex metaphor, but it's actually based on Jewish law, which is cool. In Jewish law, if you have a bunch of eggs, somehow you got a bunch of eggs, but you're not an egg farmer, you're not a chicken farmer. So you make a partnership between you, the owner of the eggs, and the chicken farmer. Here, I'm giving you all my eggs. Have your chickens lay on them. Have the chicks come out. Take care of the chicks. Raise them. Get them these big, great, strong chickens. Sell them in the marketplace. And we'll split the money. They were my eggs, but you took care of them. We'll split the money. Great. No problem. It's a deal. But wait a minute. The chicken farmer says, if I'm going to spend all this time taking care of your eggs, and we're putting them under my chicks, and we have to make sure the chickens are fed and that, and then the chicks are going to come out of the shells, and then I have to raise the chicks, and I have to feed them, and I have to give them water, I have to make sure it's clean. I'm going to be so busy raising all your chicks. How am I going to support myself? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay my kids' tuition? How am I going to put food on my table? I don't have time to take care of your chicks. I've got to make money now. I can't invest in chicks. And yes, eventually, of course, they're going to grow into big, strong chickens, and we'll sell them and we'll make a tremendous amount of money, but I've got to live today. So the owner of the egg says, don't worry, you're working for me. As long as you're taking care of my chicks, I'm going to take care of all your needs. And then when we sell the chickens, we split the profits. Yeah, that too, because listen, I just have a bunch of eggs. Without you, I'd never have any chickens to sell. So you deserve 50%. But you're right. I got to take care of you now, because otherwise you don't have time to take care of my chicks. That's Jewish law. That is literally Jewish law. In such a situation, they split the profits, but the owner of the eggs has to take care of all the needs of the chicken farmer until they get to that point. And that Jewish law expresses the reality of our relationship with God. God created a beautiful egg, this world. This world is that egg. There's so much there in potential, but it has to be nurtured for it to come out, for it to be expressed, for it to flourish. So he hired chicken farmers. He hired us, the Jewish people, his beloved's only child. And we're taking care of his egg. And eventually will come the time of complete fruition, and that's Mashiach, when we split the profits. But until then, as we see in the Jewish law, God has a mandate to take care of all of our needs, not as reward. The reward is when we split the profits, when we sell the chicken. God has to take care of all of our needs because we're working for him. So how do we have time to take care of our own needs if we're so busy with his? So God says, don't worry. I'll take care of all your needs. And then when we come to the complete fruition, we split all the profits. That's us and God, partners. So therefore, in this world, as we serve, yes, our service draws down naturally blessings because good elicits good. Our service draws down the blessings, the light of God, and that helps our life so much. And yes, our service is causing God to take care of us. The more we serve, the more God is obligated, has obligated himself to take care of all of our needs. But none of that's reward. That's not called reward. What reward will be, we can't even fathom. That's the afterlife. That's really ultimately not even the afterlife. The afterlife is glorified waiting room. That's Mashiach. That's reward. We're nowhere close to understanding the enormity of reward. And none of us have it yet. So therefore, the tzaddik, who was gifted by God after enormous work on his part, with this love that is a delight, he's like experiencing a taste of that reward now. But that's not really what this world is about. Really, reward is supposed to be in the afterlife, ultimately the real one in Mashiach. As the verse says, the Hayom la'asosam ksiv. It's written, this is in the verse, today is to do. Today's about doing. Today's about working. Today's about our action. Today's about our service. In the afterlife, ultimately for real by Mashiach, that's when you get the reward. So we are workers. Now the tzaddik is, of course, also a worker, but he's such an accomplished worker. He's already, he's already deep within the Mashiach reality, deep within the place of already sort of getting reward. But the rest of us are not. So the fact that all of our service creates for us absolute blessings, true, not reward. The fact that God takes care of us absolutely the more we serve, true, not reward. So why are we going into this? Because our love and fear of God, we're workers. And our love and fear is not the tzaddik's reward like love and fear. We're not getting it now. Today is not working. So I'm supposed to have love and fear. Yeah. Love and fear, not the real love, not the water-like love, the pleasure love. Love enough to motivate you to want to be that close to God and so dedicated to serving him and connecting. Fear enough to motivate you to be that careful not to mess up the relationship. That's your love and fear, not reward love and fear, not water love, fire love, workers love, not the body of the bird love, the wings. So it's the wings. But if we just stay by the wings and say, oh, this is so cool, I'm so spiritual, I'm so holy, I feel such love and fear of God, you're like, what? They're only wings. You need the body. The purpose of the love and fear is to get to the body and ascend it and let it soar. And will I have this great blessed life the more I serve? You're getting me nervous? Absolutely. Have all the blessings that come from service. You'll have all God taking care of you that comes from service. But the reward is far, far greater than that. Soon to be experienced with the complete revelation of Mashiach. So continuing, and whoever did not reach this level, all of us, all basically of all the Jewish people, not, oh yeah, we're on such a low level, 21st century Americans. No, Jews, even most tzaddikim, even most of the holiest Jews, you need to be the ultimate holy Jew to reach that level. So all of us that didn't reach this level, lit'ome in olam haba, to already be tasting the afterlife reward. We're still on the level where our soul is thirsting, is longing for God. That's our type of love, not the real love. Love is water. It's content. It's full. No, not my love. My love is fire. My love is want. My love is lack. My love is thirsty. Because I love kol hayom, and he's desiring and longing all day long to have this relationship with God. That's our love, and it's deliberate design. Because when I feel that love, I want God. I feel so much. I need him. Great. Go do a mitzvah. Great. Study more Torah. So it really facilitates the relationship that my love makes me feel I need and don't have. I want. I'm empty. Good. And this is how I fill myself up. So the more I have a love, the more it compels me to be so fused with him through service. And that's the point. Ve'eno marvet simono b'mehator shelafano. Now let's imagine this person has this love and has this fear and doesn't do anything about it. Meaning, again, that might sound very weird, but it really doesn't. And actually, there's a lot of people like that today. They feel something for God, and they could feel even this type of love for God. They could even feel a sense of awe in God's presence, but they don't move with it. They think that's it. They've arrived because they have godly feelings. That's what I meant about spiritual, not godly. They have feelings for God, but they're wings without the body, but they don't go to where they're supposed to go, but they stay there. Now, this is not a modern day phenomenon, though you might know many people like this, but it's not a modern day phenomenon. Isaiah, Yeshaya, the prophet, cried about it a long time ago. If someone is so thirsty, the Rebbe says, but he doesn't quench his thirst with the waters of Torah that are accessible to him. Torah has never been more accessible than today. I feel very comfortable and confident saying that. I personally have more holy books in my house than I think most towns did in Europe. And I'm not the only one. It's so accessible to have so many holy books. And it's so accessible to have Torah in so many languages. If it's French, if it's Russian, if it's English, if it's Spanish, it's out there for you. And it's so accessible to have so much Torah on your laptop, on your desktop, on your phone, on the go. It doesn't have to cost you a dime. It's all there for you. So here we are, and we feel this fear and love, and we feel this thirst and this want and this desire, and we're just staying in that space of feeling very spiritually connected, and we're not doing anything. The author says, what? You're so thirsty for God. It's not supposed to stop there where you walk around feeling very godly because you feel so thirsty. You're connecting to God all day long, feeling his, wanting him, but not doing anything to get him. You're thirsty. Drink water, the water of Torah. And the water of Torah is so out there for us today. The author says, you know what you're like, so to speak, a person that has this love and this fear and this desire for God, but does nothing with it besides feel good that he has a desire. Like someone who's standing by a river, and he's crying, water. He's thirsty, he's parched, he's dry, he needs to drink. You're standing by a river. Like the prophet speaks about, complains, laments over such a person, right? This is what Isaiah, Yeshaya said. Hoi, hoi means like, whoa, cold summer, you're thirsty. Mayim, go drink water. Could we imagine? Could we imagine someone who's thirsty? He's right by the river, but he's just stuck in this state of, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty. The river's right there. Well, that sounds ridiculous. Well, could you imagine someone who wants God and doesn't do anything about it? That's ridiculous. Isaiah, Yeshaya says the same thing. You're thirsty for God? There's a way to quench your thirst. Drink the waters of Torah. Study the Torah. Do the commandments of the Torah. You have a thirst for God. That's great. That's good. That's what we want. But we want you to try to quench that thirst in Torah. And then you'll feel more love. And you'll feel more thirst. Good, because then you'll do more. And then because you're doing more, you feel more love. Great. Then you'll be more thirsty. Because you're going to go do more. It's this beautiful spiral of your relationship with God that the more you do, the more you want him, the more you're thirsty, the more you do. And it keeps going higher and higher and higher. But could you imagine if you just got stuck being thirsty? Then your love and fear are wings without a body. No, they're the body. They're the commandment. No, the Alter Rebbe says, not our love and fear. They're the wings. And they're You're not taking them to the next level. You're not doing what they're for. The love and the fear is designed to get you to serve. And if you're not serving, it's exactly what Isaiah meant. You're thirsty, that's good. But then you're supposed to drink. Then you're supposed to immerse yourself in Torah. Hilafip shuta, because simply ain't a move on. And this makes no sense. The Mishahut Same, someone who's thirsty, umis ave lilmo. Well, if you're thirsty and you so desire to learn, shitasha yilmo me'atzmo. Obviously, you're going to go learn. Like, what's they have to tell us here? It's like it's so unnecessary. Someone who's thirsty needs to be told, go drink water. Someone who's thirsty to learn needs to be told, go learn. No, so why is the prophet like screaming at him? Whoa, you're thirsty, you want God, go drink water, go to Torah. Of course, as explained in other places at length, meaning, I mean, you could take this on many, many, many levels. Obviously, we see this in our world today with all the Jews that are thirsty for godliness, so they go to India, connect to gurus, or they throw themselves into isms. If it's feminism or socialism or communism or Bundism, it's political isms, sociological isms. What do we have here? All those isms are full of Jews. All those shrines in India are full of Jews. They're full of thirsty Jews, thirsty for God. But they don't know that if you're thirsty, you go to the waters of Torah. They know they're thirsty, so they go to India for meaning and purpose in life. Or they go to social services for meaning and purpose in life. Or they throw themselves into political ideologies for meaning and purpose in life. None of those things are going to quench your thirst, because your thirst is for God. And the only way you quench a thirst for God is drink the waters of Torah. And that's why the prophet is like lamenting, screaming, "Oi, oi, oi, whoa, what's going on?" Because he sees so many thirsty Jews, and it's such a pain, such a tragedy, that he sees Jews that are so thirsty. Right here, you can quench your thirst. Meaning, purpose, God, it's all here. Study Torah, do the commandments. But they don't connect this. Obviously, we see this today in so many people. Like, it's so fascinating and wonderful. The phenomena of these Israelis that finished their army service of 3 years, and now they just need to run away from it all. And they're backpacking around wherever part of the world they are, and then they find a Chabad house, find something that feels a bit like home. So they walk in, they never walk into any of these places in Israel, and they find that actually what they're searching for is right here at home. It's right here in their own heritage. It's right here in Torah. And that's the Jew, like Isaiah said a long time ago, you're thirsty, drink water. And with that, we finish the chapter.